Hi everyone, I'm Christine and welcome back to my sewing studio. This is part 2 of the Sew With Me Burda style 6418 in the A dress, which is the long dress here. Part 1, we went through steps 1 through 8, which is basically this. We got all the way up to the pockets, and this part 2 is going to be from steps 9 to the end, which basically we are sewing the side seams, putting armhole facings in, and hemming. Step 9 is where you're going to pin your side seams together and then sew them. Now it talks about sewing down to the top of your pocket and then back stitching, then going down to the bottom of your pocket, back stitching and sewing the rest of the dress. You do not want to sew this area because that's where the pocket opening is. However, what I normally do is I'll sew down and then I'll stick my pin in the pocket, pivot it and sew around the pocket. Then I'll stick my pin in again, pivot it and sew the rest of the dress. Burda has it where you sew it here, and then step 10 is where you come back and sew the pocket. So it's up to you, whichever way you would like to do it. I actually used a baste stitch on the side here because I want to try it on again and see if I need it taken in or taken out a little bit. And again, a baste stitch is a longer stitch and it just makes it easier to take it out if needed. So what I also did, I used the advice of the pattern and I did not sew the pockets yet. That way, if I do have to take it in or out, I don't have to worry about messing around with the pockets. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to pin it and use a baste stitch. Then I will try it on and see how it looks. I finished step 9. I sewed my side seams. I used a baste stitch, then I tried it on, and it actually fits really well. So I went back and re-sewed the side seams. Also, bonus, I can get it on and off with a 12-inch zipper. So that's good. So the zipper stays. And I did a regular stitch all along the seam in the back. I know that it is an extra step to baste it and then go back with a regular seam, but I tell you what, there have been too many times when I've sewn it with a regular stitch, tried it on, and it didn't fit, and I had to take out that stitch. So for me, it's just easier to baste it, and then you go right back over it. It's pretty quick to go back over it with a regular stitch. Funny story, I made a really cute black and white dress for my trip to Vegas, and I basted the seams, and it was a lot of seams. It was almost something like this. Then I forgot to go back with the regular stitch, and I realized that when I was in Vegas because I looked down and I swear one of the seams was coming apart because it was just a baste. I was so scared it was going to fall apart, but it didn't. I was okay. Step 10, what I had mentioned before, was now you're going to pin the pockets together and sew the pockets. You're going to start and stop at the end of your side seam here that you had ended here and ended here. So your pocket will continue all the way around like that. Step number 11, we will be sewing the armhole facings. So you've got piece number 9, which is the larger piece, and you have piece number 8. Now you will put them right sides together like this. So you can see they're different sizes, and you'll want to sew the ends together. This is the shoulder seam and this is the underarm seam. I've got them both pinned like this. So when you open them up after you've sewn them together, it's almost like a circle. So go ahead and sew both of those seams. After you have sewn pieces 8 and 9 together along the shoulder seam and the underarm seam, go ahead and open up the seam allowances and iron them down. And then just like with the neck facing, it's a good idea to go ahead and finish the outside edge. The inside of the circle is what is going to be pinned and sewn on your dress. So then the outside edge is what gets folded inside. And it's nice to either serge it, which is what I've done, or go ahead and fold it down about 1/4 of an inch and baste it. It just keeps the edge nice and clean. Once you do that, go ahead and pin it to your dress. Now you have to be careful. Piece number 9 is the bigger piece. That is the back armhole facing. That's the one that you want to have pinned on the back part of your dress. So these have only one way to go. You can see the bigger side over here. You want to match up the shoulder seam and the underarm seam. So once you do that, you can see that piece number 9 will fit perfectly. And then piece number 8, which is the front armhole facing, will fit perfectly right there. Go ahead and pin them, just like I've done here. Make sure it is right side to right side and sew along the edge there. I've gone ahead and sewn my facing to the armhole. Then go ahead and turn it to the inside. Press along all the edges here. And then the best way to keep it down is to baste with you go ahead and hand baste right here and right here. And that should hold it down when you're wearing it. In step number 12, you're going to hem the bottom and the vent, which is the slit in the sides. So I basically just folded over the vent or the slit and pinned it. I also ironed it, and I'm going to go ahead and sew down to the bottom of the skirt. And I'm going to do that on all 4 of the vents or slits. I have now sewn all of my vents, and the final part of step 12 is the hem. Now, I love the directions. They say to hand stitch your hem. Oh, heck no. There is no way I am hand stitching my hem. So I've got my little hem measure guy, and it doesn't say what size hem they recommend, but usually I figure what I think looks best. I don't usually go by the instructions. I think I might use a 1/2 inch hem here, and make sure you've got your corners in correctly so it looks nice. Since I serged it, I don't think I'm going to do a double hem. If you didn't serge it, you will have to do a double hem just to make sure your frayed edges don't come out. And what I do recommend, of course, pin it, and I would iron it, try it on, make sure it looks okay, and then go ahead and sew it. Okay, so I hemmed my dress. I hemmed it, tried it on, it looked straight, went ahead and sewed it. I actually really like it. Now, don't forget, make sure you iron all of your seams, and actually, before that, make sure if you basted your seams, make sure you go back with a regular stitch and re-stitch them all. That way you don't end up in Vegas with a dress that's only basted and you're scared it might fall off. You know, it could happen. Overall, I would say this pattern was pretty easy. I'm not all that thrilled about Burda. First off, the writing is extremely small. I can barely read the instructions. You didn't see me off camera with my reading glasses in the light, shining on it, trying to read the instructions. Also, they don't provide a lot of pictures. They kind of just throw in certain steps, and if you don't know what you're doing, I think it would be more difficult. I would definitely say get a 24-inch zipper. My 12-inch one works. I can get the dress on and off, but I swear the hardest part of this whole thing was getting the dress on my mannequin. That's what took the longest. If I actually recorded me getting this on my mannequin every time, my video would be over an hour. Surprisingly enough, I did not use a seam ripper this entire time. I'm actually really surprised. I don't remember the last pattern I did that I did not need to use my seam ripper. So that's impressive. So overall, I would say I do like this dress. Now that I know the pattern, I may not need to use a flashlight to read it next time. I think I will be doing this again. I liked the cotton. The cotton I think worked great. I hope you enjoyed my 2 videos, part 1 and 2, and I hope you enjoy your dress. If you have any patterns you'd like me to walk through, please let me know. Just drop me a comment below and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.